It looked like Caitlin Clark has donated $300,000 to help feed families across the country.
The Caitlin Clark Foundation is helping to stock food pantries here in Iowa. The foundation and Hy-Vee donated $300,000 to Feeding America at the Food Bank of Iowa. The money was raised through the Roundup campaign at Hy-Vee stores in March. The group says it will provide 3 million meals for the community.
Caitlin Clark just put her money where her heart is, donating $300,000 to help feed hungry Americans. No spotlight chasing, no flashy announcement, just real action that makes a difference. And Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White, she couldn't stop raving about it. While others are busy chasing brand deals and social media fame, Clark is out here making real change. This isn't just another WNBA headline, it's a statement about who she really is. Let's break it down.
As we all know, Caitlin Clark has changed the face of the WNBA, whether it's ticket sales, how to play the game, how to show the boys how it's done.
When an athlete gives back on this scale, it speaks louder than any highlight reel. Caitlin Clark didn't cut a check for clout. She made a real $300,000 donation to Feeding America, directly helping people in need. This wasn't about optics, it was about impact, and when head coach Stephanie White spoke on it, her pride was written all over her face. How do you even coach someone who's not just leading on the court, but leading by example off it too? This wasn't just a donation, it was a powerful message about who Clark is at her core.
When you think about the great point guards and post players that our game, not just our league, but our game has seen, they are going to go down in history as the greatest. And I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them. I'm excited about the opportunity that we have to build from those starting points and build out, and for the longevity that those two could have in Indiana, in Indianapolis, and hanging banners in this building. All of those things are so exciting. The future's really bright, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Let's paint the picture. It's a quiet week in the preseason. The headlines are fading, and fans are still locked in debates over last year's MVP snubs and Rookie of the Year arguments. While the internet reignites the usual back and forth, Clark versus Reese, stats versus hype, Caitlin Clark and her foundation make a move that says more than any debate ever could. Teaming up with Hive, Clark quietly pledged over $300,000 to Feeding America, the largest hunger relief nonprofit in the country. No spotlight, no ego, just impact. And when the news broke, Fever head coach Stephanie White didn't offer some rehearsed statement. Her pride was raw and real. She's coached legends, played beside stars. But what Clark's doing, that's different. That's what happens when elite talent meets humility and delivers something bigger than basketball. Let's not forget, Clark's doing this while preparing for the most pressure-filled season of her life. The cameras are back, the critics are circling, the league is waiting, and yet, instead of chasing headlines, she's making sure thousands of families have food on the table. Name another rookie, technically still a sophomore, doing that. And for the stat lovers out there, here's one. $100,000 can help provide over 2.5 million meals. That's real world change. That's meals in classrooms. That's single parents who don't have to choose between groceries and rent. That's seniors not skipping prescriptions just to eat. This wasn't just a signature on a check. Clark's brother was there, hand delivering the donation. The whole Clark family showed up, not for cameras, but because they care. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the league, silence. Some stars were at the Met Gala, others planning quick hit collabs that'll fade in days. But Caitlin, she's thinking long term. She's not chasing clout, she's building a legacy, and Stephanie White sees it. Before she took over as head coach, she was calling Clark's games from the broadcast booth. She saw it all. The crowds in the hotel lobbies, the security barriers, the buzz. Caitlin Clark was already a superstar before she played a minute of pro ball. She's Taylor Swift with a jump shot, and now she's using that spotlight to make a real difference. White didn't need fancy words, she just said it like it is. Clark's not just a box office name, she's authentic, and that authenticity spreads. It shapes locker rooms, it builds culture. That's what sets this Indiana Fever team apart. It's not just Clark's handles or deep threes, it's her heart, and veterans like Dewana Bonner and Natasha Cloud can feel it. The rookies, they've got a real blueprint now, not just for success, but for purpose. This isn't your average rookie adjusting to the pros. This is a young woman already setting the standard for the entire league. And the fans, oh, they noticed. While WNBA Twitter spiraled over rankings and uniform critiques, real fans saw that $300,000 check and knew something had changed. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was human. It was bigger. Suddenly, Caitlin Clark wasn't just the girl from Iowa. She became a symbol, an example. And let's be clear, this isn't just a PR win for Indiana. It's a wake-up call for the league. While some players cry out for more exposure, Clark is creating it without ever saying a word, just by doing. That's why the Caitlin Clark effect is real. It's not just about packed arenas or record ratings. It's a mindset, a movement, one built on excellence and integrity. And if you think Stephanie White isn't building the Fever's foundation around that, you're not paying attention. Because last season, Clark was playing 40-minute games in college. Now, she's playing for something much bigger. Even with the media frenzy constantly swirling around her, Caitlin Clark still finds time for the things that matter. Visiting kids in hospitals, showing up for community events, and chatting with middle schoolers back in Iowa. She's just entering her second year in the league and would have every reason to stay locked in on herself and her game. But that's not her style. It never was. Let's be real, no one has to donate $300,000. Not in pro sports, not in this economy, especially not a second-year player still working her way up the endorsement food chain. But Caitlin did it anyway, because she's not waiting to make it before she gives back. She already believes she's part of something bigger, and that mindset, that's what makes her dangerous. She's not just fitting into the WNBA, she's reshaping it from the inside out. While others are following the playbook, Clark's out here writing a new one. So when Stephanie White showers her with praise, it's not just coach speak, it's recognition of something rare. A young athlete with talent, purpose, and the guts to act on it. This wasn't a PR move. You don't drop a $300,000 check to feed hungry Americans just for optics. That's a real commitment. Caitlin Clark isn't just dropping dimes on the court, she's dropping assists off of it that put most public figures to shame. And who was the first to speak up? None other than Fever head coach Stephanie White. And she didn't sugarcoat it either. She didn't just say she was proud in a vague, generic way. White called Clark's donation a shining example of what leadership in women's sports should look like. Then she hit the nail on the head. This is why people show up for Caitlin. It's not just her game, it's her heart. Let that sink in. And before we unpack White's full statement, let's talk about the ripple effect, because this wasn't some isolated moment. This shook the league. Caitlin's donation isn't just a headline, it's a cultural shockwave. Most young pros are trying to build their brand. Caitlin's out here building national goodwill. Feeding America even gave her a public thank you. Families across the country are literally eating because of her. That's not just a Caitlin Clark story anymore. That's an American story. And trust me, not everyone in the league is thrilled about it. Now let's rewind to that Stephanie White presser, because it went from ordinary to unforgettable in seconds. When a reporter asked about Clark's off-court impact, White lit up. Her response: "We talk a lot about being role models in this league. Caitlin doesn't just talk, she lives it. This isn't a photo op. She's writing checks, putting in the work, and holding her own foundation accountable." Yep, you heard that right. She's keeping her own foundation honest. That's next level leadership. This isn't just impressive, it's intimidating. Front offices across the league are paying attention, because Caitlin Clark isn't just raising the bar on the floor. She's raising the standard for how athletes carry themselves, serve their communities, and use their platform. Now let's be blunt. How many players can you name that have done this before finishing their second full season? Go ahead, we'll wait. Caitlin Clark is a cultural reset, period. And as much as her critics want to cry over media hype and overexposure, here's what they can't argue with: receipts. And $300,000 worth of food for families in need. That's a pretty loud one. But here's the twist. This wasn't a broad stroke gesture. Clark didn't throw money at a charity just to say she did. She chose Feeding America because it's on the front lines. Local food banks, school lunch programs, emergency shelters, places where people are just trying to get through the day. Clark's donation didn't just help, it changed daily lives. And of course, Coach White knows that. She added, "This league is built on players who grind every day and still find ways to give." Caitlin isn't just continuing that tradition, she's setting a new one. Read that again, setting the new standard, not following, not learning, setting it. And now the rest of the WNBA is trying to keep up, whether they like it or not. Which brings us to the real question: where is everyone else? Because outside of a few soft-focused brand promos, we're not seeing this kind of real game-changing action from many others. Clark didn't wait until she had it all to give something back. She's giving while she's still climbing, and that's the kind of leadership you can't fake. A lot of stars show up for charity in small doses. A quick youth camp here, a school drop in there, maybe a few pictures and they're gone. But this? A $300,000 push for food security? That's not just generous, that's a whole different level of dedication. And here's where it starts to shift. Caitlin Clark isn't just changing how fans see the WNBA, she's changing what fans expect from it. When your favorite player is literally helping stock your fridge, it becomes hard to cheer for the ones who only appear for red carpets or All-Star Weekend. But Clark isn't making noise or pointing fingers, she's just leading, quietly, consistently, powerfully, and it's working. Now let's zoom in on Fever head coach Stephanie White, because what she said hit different. According to her, this team's identity starts with Caitlin, and when your cornerstone is someone who shows up, whether that's on the hardwood or through a donation that feeds thousands, you start to build a culture people want to be part of. She's right, the Indiana Fever aren't just rebuilding anymore. They're transforming. With Clark as the face, they're becoming more than a franchise. They're becoming a force for good. That kind of leadership spreads fast. You're already seeing teammates get more involved in community efforts. Sponsors are stepping up too, matching donations. A movement is forming, and it all centers around a 22-year-old who's still hitting logo threes like it's nothing. Let's pause and talk about why this is such a game changer. Caitlin could have stayed in her lane, worked on her game, done a few charity appearances, called it a day. That alone would have earned praise. But instead, she's out here setting the example, doing more than entire foundations with million-dollar budgets. And here's the kicker, she's not out here flexing about it. No victory lap, no endless selfies. Just the work, just results. And that's why people don't know what to do with her. She doesn't fit the mold. She's not a PR stunt. She's not a one-dimensional score. She's not some figurehead propped up for headlines. She's real. And that authenticity, it's threatening the status quo, because while some in the league are coasting on status and social buzz, Caitlin's building community, and in a league still fighting for the spotlight it deserves. That kind of energy is exactly what it needs. Coach White gets it. The Fever get it. Feeding America gets it, and you better believe the brands do too. They're watching closely, because what Caitlin brings isn't just impressions or engagement spikes. It's substance. She just made giving back look cool again. And let's not ignore this. Her brother was right there, holding that check, smiling like the proudest guy in the building. That's not just family support, that's family involvement. The Clarks aren't just showing up, they're laying down roots. They're building something that lasts. So while half the league is chasing likes, Caitlin Clark is out here feeding families. Let that sit with you for a second. Meanwhile, the online reactions couldn't be more split. One half is celebrating her generosity, calling it what it is, elite leadership. The other half still trying to twist it into a PR ploy or a marketing strategy. But here's the truth, the numbers don't lie, and neither do the meals on tables across the country. Back in the locker room, her teammates didn't hear it from her. They found out the same way we did, online. She didn't bring it up, didn't boast, didn't even mention it at practice. That kind of quiet power, it hits different. She's not here for attention, she's here for action. Now let's talk about what's next, because this isn't a one-time thing. Word is, the Caitlin Clark Foundation is already working on long-term food programs, targeting rural communities and areas hit hardest by food insecurity. If that's true, then this isn't just a donation, it's infrastructure, it's strategy. She's not thinking about months, she's thinking about generations. That kind of thinking, that's how legends are made. So while the media debates who should be the new face of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark isn't waiting around. She's already showing us, not just with buckets and box scores, but with real measurable impact. She's not chasing superstardom, she's redefining it, and the rest of the world is just starting to catch on.